guys, we are back. It has been almost a year since we dropped our last podcast episode. And honestly, that was just a one-time exception that we did for our film festival. Really, last time we did a proper episode was well over a year ago. And you might be asking why, because we're the people who preach that podcasting, the most important thing with it is being consistent. It's not even worth starting a podcast if you're not going to be consistent, and we've been anything but. But in reality, that has been due to just shifting priorities and different focuses that we needed to have over the last year. So I kind of wanted to update you guys on where we're at with this podcast, and beyond that, where FilmLaab is at, what I've been learning over the last year, some of these experiences that we've had, the shifts that we've had internally, not only in our personnel, but also our focus, our attention, and where we're going into this next year. It's been a wild ride. And like what I got to say, and first of all, a shout out to anybody who's listening to this, because you are probably some of the people who've supported us from day one, who have been in the trenches with us, who support us on socials, on YouTube. You come to our events, you engage with us. It really does make a difference. And what I will say is FilmLaab would not exist if it wasn't for the community supporting us and backing us. You guys have brought us opportunities for commercial campaigns, for running and promoting other people's podcasts. You've rented out our studio. You've been an integral part of what we're doing. So that's really what the purpose of this podcast is to really pull back the curtain behind what we're learning and what we're experiencing at FilmLaab. And we want to engage with you guys as our community because, again, you're an important part. So kind of diving into where we've been and what's been going on. Actually, before I even get into that, let me just address like what we're going to be doing on this podcast. So the emphasis in the past was kind of talking to other industry experts, getting their creative input on how they're experimenting, how they're developing and growing as a creative. And I still want that to be a theme in this podcast. But transparently, that takes a lot of work, that takes a lot of research, and I'm not always able to dedicate the time to give a proper show and experience. Now, something that I am in every day, something that I'm experimenting and developing every single day is our business and our production company here at FilmLaab. I'm constantly having to learn how to better communicate ideas, how to pitch clients, how to develop myself and our team creatively, how to give better creative direction, how to make edits in the post-production process not only easier and more efficient, but also something where we're pushing the boundaries in every single production and the creative process. There's a lot that we're learning and experiencing. And when I think about some of the most talented creatives that I know, I work with them every day. And so bringing them on, talking about what we're doing, how we're experimenting, how we're developing things within FilmLaab is probably one of the best ways that we can give you guys value. So not only are you going to hear about what we're doing and how we're developing and growing the business, but also how we're refining our creative process, how we're finding inspiration, how we work with clients, how we develop scripts, how we make sure production goes smoothly, and how we're also trying to enhance and build our own brand. So really, this is, again, the focus of the podcast moving forward is just pulling back the curtain and helping you guys be part of the conversation. But enough about what the podcast is going to be. Let me just tell you guys what we've been up to this last year and kind of what's been going on. So last time you probably heard from me really was in 2023. You know, we were really, really pushing hard. It was a very pivotal year for us. At the beginning of the year 2023, there was a chance that we wouldn't be in business, that we wouldn't make it through Q1 just due to the fact that we had transitions in ownership where my partner left. We had a lot of changes of personnel, and we had to figure out what is the direction we want to take this? How do we want to tell our story? How do we want to engage the community? And where do we want to go as a production company? What kind of work do we want to do? All these different questions were kind of there in 2023. And so in 2023, we were just trying to find who we were, I guess, and how we wanted to move forward and develop. 2024, I would say the theme of that was refining our creative process and making sure our product, which is the videos that we're making and our creative process, got better. And so really 2024 was all about leveling up that. And so that's where I've been. That's why I haven't been on here, because we decided to work on ourselves and on every aspect of our creative process. We started really deciding and putting effort into and refining our creative process with script writing, with the pre-production, making sure our concepts were not only just accomplishing the job, because that's where I think a lot of us can kind of settle as creatives, right? There's two types of creatives. There's ones who just are a fulfillment center. A client comes to them, they say, I want an asset that does X, Y, and Z. And they say, okay, they package it up and ship it out like they're Amazon Prime. You know, they're not really thinking about this incredible experience or getting creative across whatever. And then on the other side of the spectrum, you have creatives that want every project they work on to be their own personal art project. They want it to be an ultimate expression of their own creativity, which again is not serving the client, and it's more having their own goals in mind. And so what we needed to do was find the beautiful middle ground where in every project, we were making sure that we were addressing the client needs. We were making sure that it was going to deliver the results they were looking for. But at the same time, we wanted it to be something that stood out. We wanted it to be something that had more creative impact, that it was something that we were proud of, and therefore would hopefully help convert and do and accomplish what the client was looking for more than ever. And that was what we emphasized. And a lot of that process is all in pre-production. That's taking the time to refine the scripts, to make sure you get the proper talent, to make sure that the call to action's strong, that there's strategy behind not only how you capture it, but how ultimately it's going to be deployed and distributed, right? So we really focused on that part of the process. And what that required was me stepping out of working on the business, and I had to get in the weeds a little bit. I spent more time writing scripts. I spent more time going back and forth with other creatives on projects with our clients and just refining that process. And that has been extremely rewarding, because for a few years before that, I started feeling like I never got to actually delve into and focus on the creative process because I was so busy trying to get work, trying to build our company. But luckily, I have an incredible business partner in Mike. If you guys don't know Mike, you're missing out. He's one of the best dudes in the world. We'll have him on. We've had him on the podcast before. We'll get him on for future episodes. But he came in and his emphasis is all about relationships. It's all about scaling. It's all about efficiency. And so he came in, he brought systems. He focused on the sales, and over the last year or so, he really learned what our product required and what it's able to do and how it's able to benefit the brands that we work with. And so he's able to sell it incredibly well. And so what that did is that made me be able to step away from all the sales, from working on the business, to focus on the creative aspect. And so we've become a really cool 1-2 punch where he'll build the relationship. He'll kind of get to know a little bit of what their needs are and kind of start engaging them. And then me and the people that I collaborate with on the creative side are able to build out creative pitches, to build out scripts that really address their needs, solve their problems, and do it in a very creative and compelling way. And so then I'm able to kind of come in with those decks, with those scripts, things like that, and really help bring it home. And so as we've kind of worked together, as I focused on the creative process, it's been huge for us. And so not to digress too much, but that was the theme of 2024, was making sure our creative process was dialed. And a lot changed. Like I would say only half of our team that we have today, January 2025, is what we had in January 2024. And it's not that anybody was let go or anything. They were just people who had different goals, had different visions, and ultimately wanted to go and do other things, which is great. But in that process, we've been able to pull on new team members who are committed to the vision of what we're building at FilmLaab. And not only are they here and did they fill those spots, but I think they're even leveling us up even further. So I'm really excited about that. You're going to meet DPs, editors, other creatives that we've pulled on that have made a huge difference. But we still have our core team, the people that have been with us for a long time. So obviously you've got me. I play the role of creative director. I have my business partner, Mike, who's incredible. Like I said, he does ops, he does sales. He also does finance. The dude does it all. On top of that, we have my brother, Grayson, who is a DP and an editor. He's probably one of our best and most creative. We save most of our intense projects for him. We have my other brother, Talmadge, who runs the podcast department. He not only helps produce this podcast, but he does it for all of our other clients who we produce their podcasts. We manage, we run, we edit, we shoot, we upload, do all of that start to finish. He also manages our studios. Incredible guy. We also have Danny Garcia, who is another director here. He directs, he shoots, he edits, he does it all. And then we have Austin Brady, who's been here since the beginning. He not only runs our entire YouTube channel and does our entire series Lab Takes, which you guys have seen. I mean, it's basically like every month or two, we're dropping a new mini doc talking through a production that we had or a process that we're doing or telling the story behind FilmLaab. But now he's ramping it up even more, and I'm excited to tell you guys what we're doing there. So he's still here. We have our producer, Taylor, who's been here for over a year. She's fantastic. And like I said, we have a bunch of new team members who are also here that I'm really excited for you guys to get to know throughout this process. So obviously that's where we've been. But like I said, we're moving forward. There's a lot to look forward to. And I just kind of want to give you guys an update on what our plans are moving forward, what you can expect from us, and that's how we're kicking this whole thing off. So moving into 2025, the thing that I want to emphasize more just from a passion perspective is I want to do more projects for us. I want to focus on telling our story. I want to draw a line in the sand on the things that are important to us. I want to make pieces that hopefully resonate with people and tell a story. So be looking out for that. We are already working on concepting kind of like a creative manifesto piece for us that I'm way stoked to share with you guys. We've got our reel coming up, our 2025 show reel, where we're going to showcase the work that we created last year and hopefully bring more projects and opportunities to us this year. Beyond that, we're getting ready to launch a brand new website that we've been working on developing for the last 3 or 4 months. I'm way stoked on the pivot of that. It's going to showcase our services better. It's going to talk about our creative process even more. And then I think it's going to visually showcase our work in a really exciting way. So if you guys haven't seen our current website, check it out now because within the next couple of weeks, we're swapping that whole thing out. We also have a bunch of plans for upcoming events. We want to do our short film festival again this year, which we did our first one last year. It was a major success. But we want to do another film festival this year where we can get films submitted from our community. We can submit some of our own, and we can just have a really cool experience bringing creatives together, telling stories, and giving these young directors, creatives, and also experienced ones a platform to be able to share their story and their vision. So looking forward to not only the film festival, but also just doing other things, headshot nights at our studio, going on photo walks as a team, maybe having guest speakers or people come do workshops, whatever it is, we want to just start bringing the community together in person. So if there's something that you guys want, an experience you want to have, a way you want to engage with us, feel free to reach out, comment on our socials, DM me directly, whatever it is. Would love to hear about how we can engage with you guys in person and make experiences that can benefit you as a creative and just bringing together a network. So that's one of our big goals for this year as well. Lastly, we also are working on finally getting our merch and some new gear developed. We've been working. We're sourcing from China, so those things take time. Currently, we have our first line and drop of things. It's stuck in California. There's a lot of fires going on, so I'm sure that's part of why it's been delayed. But once it gets here, we're going to be launching that, probably having an event and some experiences around that. So like I said, this year is going to be a big one for us. There's a lot of ways we want to engage with the community. There's stories that we want to tell. Moving forward on our YouTube channel, we're going to be dropping a new video every 2 weeks. So the goal of that series has always been, just like this podcast is now, pulling back the curtain behind FilmLaab, telling our story, helping you guys get to know the team, talk about our creative process, the things that we're learning as we build this production company, both as creative entrepreneurs and just creatives in general. So we're going to be dropping that every 2 weeks. This podcast, moving forward, you can expect to be happening at least every other week as well. It may be a YouTube video one week, the next week we do a podcast episode, and back and forth, vice versa. But ultimately, we only want to create stuff when it's beneficial to you guys and bringing value. But there's enough coming up that we're developing that we've been working on for a long time, and we want to share the whole process with you guys. Ultimately, what I'm excited for the most is continuing to grow and develop as creatives. We have an all-star team and we love what we do. I'm so passionate about telling stories, about capturing beautiful visuals. And what I want to create is things that connect with us human to human. I want to create things that motivate people to feel something. And that's what we're really going to emphasize moving into this year. And then obviously there's the other arbitrary goals of, generating more revenue, building new studios. We have a new grip van that we just purchased that we're going to be building out. There's a lot of exciting things like that, but really at the core, what we want to emphasize is creating stories, capturing a feeling. And hopefully that's something that's motivating to you guys. So nothing really more to say. That's the update of where we're at, what you can expect. But I'm really looking forward to bringing you guys back into the conversation, come inside the lab to talk about where we're going. And hopefully this can bring you guys value along the way. But that's where we're at. Appreciate you guys, and we'll catch you in the next one.